I didn't expect a phone call. Not really. But I also didn't expect the text I got. It came at 9:14 in the morning from my mom's number, but it was signed by both my parents. It said, "Hey, sweetie, we thought it might be easier if you just watch the wedding online. With all the guests and Blake's family, it might get tricky. No offense. Hope that's okay?" I read it twice. It wasn't a fight, not a big argument. It was more like a shrug, like they didn't really care. I stared at the message while my tea got cold on my laptop. I also saw a bill for $14 and $750 still showed up for the flowers. In my name. That's for the place I booked for the wedding I wasn't even allowed to go to. My name is Erin Caldwell. I'm 37. I live in Austin, Texas. I work at a company that helps make clean energy. I don't cry much. Not anymore. My sister Haley is getting married next Saturday just outside Dallas. She's marrying Blake, the guy my parents love. I helped plan the wedding. I paid for most of it quietly because that's what I do. But apparently, I don't belong. I didn't answer the text. I just stared at the words that hurt more than they should. Hope that's okay. They didn't say, "Don't come." They said, "You were never really supposed to." I wasn't ever the favorite, but I thought being the reliable one mattered. When Haley failed her first semester at college, I helped her get into another school close to home. I paid for her applications and drove her to interviews. When Dad lost work in 2016 and they almost lost the lake house, I gave them $18,000 from my savings, the money I was saving to buy a house, with no questions asked. When Mom had hip surgery, I flew back, stayed 10 days, canceled my meetings, bought groceries, handled her medicine, even cleaned the bathroom. Haley posted a selfie that week and said, "Forever my parents rock." She got 430 likes. I got tendinitis from all the work. I don't want praise. Never did. But after a while, I realized that when I held things together, they just thought it was the weather. No one remembers the person who fixes the roof. They only complain when the floor gets wet again. The wedding was the same. Haley wanted a perfect barn with pretty lights, live cello music, and fancy food. It was too expensive. Blake's parents said they'd pay a little. My parents were busy, so I booked it under my name and told Haley not to worry. She never stressed once. The more I handled, the more they ignored me. First, small things. I wasn't. On the bridal group chat, they told me to wear anything I wanted. "You always look good in navy." I offered to help with seating, but Haley said, "You're not good with family drama. Blake and I will handle it with Mom." Drama? I almost laughed. I've handled big business deals on 3 continents. The wedding planner called me once about a lighting change. I said I didn't know. She was confused. I thought I was handling that part, but then I wasn't. The more I faded out, the easier it was for them. I was like a utility line they forgot was still plugged in. Then the small blow came. My assistant Sasha sent me an email she wasn't supposed to see. A casual chat from the wedding planner about the final photos. Halfway down was a note from my mom. "Make sure the bride's sister isn't in the front row photos. Haley wants it that way." No reason, just a decision. That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, trying to remember the last time anyone asked how I was doing. I couldn't. It's strange how you can disappear without ever leaving. The first time I really noticed was at Haley's bridal brunch. I flew in early, stayed in a hotel I booked myself, and brought the special glasses she forgot to order. I wasn't on the invite, but I hoped they'd notice I did most of it. Photos went up on Facebook that night. Lots of happy people. Champagne glasses shining, matching robes. I looked for me. I saw one blurry photo of me half hidden behind a flower. Arch, no tag. The album was called "The Most Magical Crew a Bride Could Ask For." I wasn't crew. I was scaffolding. A week later, Haley made the wedding website. There was a section called Meet the VIPs, bridesmaids, parents, even Blake's great uncle. I wasn't there. I searched again. At the very bottom, under extended family support, there was my first name, spelled wrong. No bio, no link. Then I tried logging into the wedding planning site I built for them. With timelines, bills, contracts. It kicked me out. A message said I'd been removed. No warning, no message, just gone. I sat staring at the screen. For the first time in a long time, I felt something I hadn't let myself feel before. Humiliation. Not anger, not sadness. Just that quiet, cutting feeling that I stayed too long where I was never really wanted. That night, I looked back at the email Sasha sent me, the one with Mom's note about moving me out of the front photos. The thread showed who agreed to it. Haley, the same Haley I stayed up with when she struggled in college, the same Haley I helped out of a lease without telling Mom and Dad. She signed it with a thumbs up emoji. I didn't tell anyone I was stepping back. I just stopped stepping in. Haley's second dress fitting was on a Tuesday. I booked it 2 months before, sent a deposit, and confirmed with the tailor. I didn't go. No one asked why. 2 days later, a photo went up from the last fitting, Haley, her maid of honor, and Mom. All smiling. No mention of who paid for the dress changes. I quietly left the shared Dropbox folder called Haley's Wedding Caldwell. Family. No one noticed. I logged into the florist's booking site, the one with the white peonies Haley wanted, even though they weren't in season, and changed the contact email to Haley's own Gmail with a note. Please send future. Questions here. That night, I sat in my kitchen with the lights off except for my laptop screen. The bill was still there, unpaid. That's when I started collecting receipts. Not just money ones, but screenshots, messages, notes from vendors thanking me for quick replies. I found the history of the wedding website. I saw how my name used to be on the planning team before someone quietly deleted it. There was no announcement, no fight, no "I'm done." I just let go and watched if anyone noticed. They didn't. That weekend, I posted one Instagram story. A photo from a cafe in Austin, a table for 2, but only 1 chair was taken. The tea was untouched. A blank place card sat across from it. No words, no face. Just silence. My assistant Sasha replied with 1 emoji. She understood. The next morning, I deleted the shared Google Calendar for the wedding weekend. No one sent me a new invite. I didn't cancel my hotel. I just never packed. My absence was a statement. Not loud, but clear, if anyone cared to. See, the week of the wedding, Austin got hot and sticky. I worked late every night, but my mind kept coming back to one line. Watch it online. I never replied. 2 days before the rehearsal dinner, I met Dean, our company lawyer, for lunch. "I'm not suing anyone," I said before he even opened the menu. He laughed. "No need. You just want to stop paying." He showed me the words. I needed Aaron Caldwell withdraws all financial support and help for Haley Caldwell and Blake Henson's wedding. It wasn't revenge. It was clear. The next morning, I sent the message from my personal email, not my work one, no legal letterhead. Attached were confirmations, cancellations, canceled bills, vendors copied, and timelines. By Friday, the cracks were clear. I got my first message from the wedding planner, a woman named Kira I'd never met in person but had worked with for 6 months. "Hi, Aaron. Just received your note. Are you sure you want to withdraw entirely? Some things might be hard to fix this close to the date." No greeting, no kindness, just panic pretending to be polite. I didn't reply. That afternoon, my phone rang. It was Mom. I watched it ring 5 times before going to voicemail. She left nothing. By Saturday morning, the wedding day, everything started falling apart. The florist called Haley's number at 6:42 a.m. to confirm delivery. The credit card was declined. The string quartet canceled. No final payment. The shuttle vans from the hotel stopped service. Booking canceled. The barn venue, where I'd put down the first deposit, was still open but now showed a $14,750 balance due. Then came the tent. Blake's parents assumed it was covered. It wasn't. Kira tried to rush order it, but the supplier wouldn't release it without payment. Haley had maxed out her card on favors and signage. Guests arrived to no flowers, no tent, no music, just folding chairs on hot gravel and a half-decorated altar. The photos that came out were bleak. Someone tried to save it with Polaroids. One showed Haley clutching her bouquet, store-bought tulips, her face twisted in rage and disbelief. I watched it all from Big Bend National Park, 4 hours west, where I'd driven with no cell signal. Just me, a paperback, and a sweating bottle of Topo Chico in the sun. Sasha kept me updated by email once I had service again. Bride's mom had a breakdown. Guests started leaving after 40 minutes. Some thought it was a prank. There was no live stream. The planner hadn't paid for it. Technically, I had watched from afar, but there was nothing to see. No ceremony, no celebration, no center. That night, Haley posted one photo, a blurry black and white selfie of her and Blake standing. In a field captioned private vows, no filters, just love. I almost respected the spin. What they didn't know was, I hadn't taken anything away. I had only withdrawn what was never really mine. They thought I disappeared, but I had only stopped carrying what was never meant to be mine. 3 days later, someone knocked. I was back in Austin, sitting on my patio with a book open but unread, when I heard the doorbell. Through the glass, I saw Dad in his usual khaki-collared shirt with the same face he wore when politics came up at holiday dinners. Behind him, Mom clutched her purse like it might vanish. They didn't look angry, just practiced. "Can we come in?" Mom asked softly. I didn't move. "I have 10 minutes. They stepped inside like strangers in a museum. Everything was clean and minimal. A single framed photo of me smiling alone at Machu Picchu hung on the wall. "We're not here to blame," Dad said. "We just want to talk, figure out how things got misunderstood." Misunderstood? As if I had just fallen out of the wedding photos by accident. "We were under pressure," Mom added. Haley was stressed. The planner messed up. "It wasn't about you." I said nothing. Dad sighed. But the way it turned out, it made Haley look irresponsible, ungrateful. Blake's family is upset. You know how perception works? There it was. Not an apology, a request for damage control. Mom leaned in. "If you could just put out a statement, something neutral, like you had a work conflict or wanted to give them space, that would help smooth things over." She wasn't asking for forgiveness. She wanted PRI turned toward the hallway as Sasha appeared holding a folder. She paused, then laid it on the side table with a nod to me. She said nothing. Mom blinked. "That's your assistant?" I nodded. "One of them." Silence. Then came the twist I hadn't expected. That night, Aunt Lily, the one who always stood up for me at family events, the one who once whispered, "You don't deserve how they treat you," sent a text. "Maybe don't drag this out, Erin. It's already messy. We all need to move on. Not we owe you an apology. Not how are you. Just let it die quietly. Even the ones who saw it want to bury it, rather than admit the rot. Even those who once defended you are asking for silence. What exactly were they defending in the first place?" I didn't reply to Aunt Lily. I didn't send a statement. I didn't post a clarification. I didn't show up to the post-wedding brunch Haley invited me to 3 days late. A last-minute message came through. "We missed you. Let's just catch up, okay?" No drama. No drama? Like, everything hadn't fallen apart in front of 80 guests and a closed catering tent. The truth was, I wasn't angry anymore. Anger means you still want something. An explanation, an apology, maybe even love. I didn't want any of that. What I wanted was space. Space wide enough that they could no longer pretend I was part of their story. At work, Sasha updated my calendar. We deleted the placeholder events titled Haley Wedding Tasks. She didn't ask why. She just renamed the folder Closed, not forgotten. That Friday, Mom sent one final email. "Just checking in. Your father and I are still your parents. We love you. Please don't let this divide us forever." I sat with that line for a long time, thought about everything I'd funded, carried, organized, about the RSVP list, the planner's email, Blake's toast where he thanked everyone who made the day possible, except me. Then I typed one sentence. I was always there. You just built a life that worked better when I wasn't. I didn't sign it with love. I didn't press send. I printed it, folded it, slipped it into an envelope, and left it on the hallway table next to the untouched invitation for Haley's postponed celebration dinner. I never opened that envelope again. A week later, I walked into a small UPS store near South Congress with a padded envelope in my hand. Inside was a thumb drive labeled Expenses, Caldwell Wedding Final. Also, the printed letter I never sent, the one that said I was always there, no return, address. I paid in cash. Then I walked out without looking back. That evening, I cleaned out my apartment. Not of things, but of shadows. I deleted the family shared album from my cloud drive, unfollowed Haley, muted Mom, archived the folder with venue notes and invoices. I brewed a cup of Darjeeling tea and set it on the kitchen table across from an empty chair. Then I took the last wedding photo I ever saved, the blurry one where I stood behind the flower arch and slid it out of its frame. I replaced it with a new photo. Me alone in Big Bend. No filter, no caption, just sun, sweat, and silence. I left the old photo face down on the table. The next morning, I found a message from the planner in my inbox. Short, no greeting, received the final documents. Understood. Not, thank you. Not sorry. That was fine. I didn't need closure from people who never left the door open. That Sunday, I visited a local antique market. I wasn't looking for anything, but I saw a worn wooden place card holder. It had space for 2 names. I bought it, took it home, and slid in a single piece of paper. It read, "Reserved. Not forgotten." I placed it across the table in front of the empty chair, and I didn't say a word. They asked me to watch the wedding from a distance. So I did. And from there, I watched them fall. If you've ever been quietly erased from a story you helped build, just leave one word they never gave.